I welcome you to this very exciting edition of Radio Biafra presentation, a very special address to the entire IPOB family all over the world and humanity as well, wherever you are and you're listening to us. I sincerely welcome you. With the time now standing at precisely a minute past the hour of 6 p.m. here in the United Kingdom, the same number of minutes, should I say, past the top of the hour, 7 p.m. in Biafra land. I say good evening to all of you, good morning and good afternoon, good night, depending on where you are listening to us from. I welcome you, and as I do so, I will not hesitate to urge you to welcome other people as well. Friends of Biafra, friends of this very noble IPOB family, all lovers of freedom, including the enemies of freedom, those who prefer tyranny and oppression to their own freedom, we welcome all of them because this is a gospel of redemption. We must preach this very gospel tonight, that heaven may bear us witness that in our time we spoke the truth, albeit that the majority of them consumed in the ignominy of the damnable zoological republic could not comprehend it. But we must go ahead because we must do this broadcast this evening as commanded by Elohim in heaven. Today's date, for those who do not know and for the avoidance of doubt, is Tuesday, the 26th of February in the year of Elohim, 2019. You can listen to Radio Biafra via a variety of platforms, but most ostensibly is www.radiobiafra.co. I repeat, this has been our flagship website. If you log on to Radio Biafra, you should be able to listen to us. If you log on to www.biafratv.co, that is biafratv.co, not .com, .co.co, you should be able to listen to us. If you log into www.ipob.org, that is ipob.org, you should be able to listen to Radio Biafra without spending so much of your data. If you also log into www.thebiafratelegraph.co or www.biafratimes.co, all this, by the way, is published across the variety of social media sites and platforms on which Radio Biafra and IPOB is domiciled. And also on my page as well, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. There will be an update, should I say periodic updates on my page this very evening. Therefore, I ask you, those of you who may wish to ask questions, to proceed also to my page. We're also on Radio Biafra on Facebook, the page, please. Radio Biafra page. Our enemies tried to clone most of our work, most of the things we are doing. They try, or should I say they try to replicate it. But the real one is Radio Biafra on our Facebook page. That also will be advertised extensively this very evening for those of you who wish to join us on that very platform to be able to do so. I welcome you. It is not a very happy time in the zoo, and once again, my name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of IPOB. I lead the people of Biafra all over the world, and by the grace of the Most High, I will continue to serve the people of Biafra until the end of my time. I welcome you, but we must pray. As you all know very well, on this hallowed platform, it is our responsibility and our duty to hand over our proceedings to Elohim, that only Him may take glory, worthy of the grace of Elohim, that Biafra may come in our time, because it is not within our gift to give. Biafra is not within the gift of man to give. It is within the gift of Elohim. We must proceed. This evening I depart. I will not pray you a prayer of David. That is this very beautiful prayer that Hannah prayed. Remember Hannah. Hannah is the mother of Samuel. in the scriptures. Hannah was barren, but Elohim did the impossible for her. The same prayer that Hannah prayed at the same temple where I have prayed in Jerusalem, is the prayer I will pray this evening. Because something very remarkable is happening in the lives of our people. They have now realized that IPOB has been right all along. They now realize that this very movement of Biafra restoration is the only hope for our people. They now realize that everything that I have been saying, every utterance that I have made has now come to pass. Bar none. That is why I will pray this prayer. Because Chukwokika Biama asked us to remain resolute, to be without fear before our enemies, and we have done that. Today, with the events of the past few days, we are now justifiably and with every good reason referring to the damnable Zoological Republic for what it is. The home of animals and people who cannot reason properly, people who do not understand what oppression is all about, people who are suffering and they are smiling. Today, their shame is complete. Because there is nothing sweeter than, didn't I tell you so? Or had I known? Everything we've been preaching on this platform, everything that this noble family of IPOB, mind you, is also Muchinekanonimia, everything we have stood for over the years was vindicated on Saturday. Everything we believed in. Everything we've believed in was vindicated. People saw what they have never seen before. Because of that, our prayers have been answered. And I will pray the same prayer that Hannah prayed to Elohim at the temple in Jerusalem. That I pray this evening from the United Kingdom. For our heart rejoiceth in the Most High, who has exalted our horns, who has lifted us up in his mercy. For our mouth is enlarged over that of our enemies. This is the prayer of Hannah to Elohim. That is what I pray this evening. Onwe mechigondino, hapuri kwoku, ndị ntamu we basasịa, ndị nzuzu we susuru we bani mulo. Amamihe ha, enwege boru deru, owe buru nke nkete, unu hapum kam sasusu eligwe. Although I know that most people don't understand it, but this is the language of heaven. We rejoice this evening in the salvation of Elohim who has vindicated IPOB, because there is none holy as the Almighty One of Israel. For there is none beside Elohim. That is why I don't worship idol. I only worship the one true living Elohim in heaven. The same God of Abraham, the same God of Isaac, the same God of Jacob, the same God of Joseph, the same God of Moses, the same God of Aaron, the same God of Joshua, the same God of Caleb, the same God of Samuel. They had the fullness of wine because of money and because of wealth. But today, those of us that preach this very gospel of redemption, we have emerged triumphant, because only the Elohim, you give and you take. You bring it everything down to the grave ultimately, and only you can also raise the dead. Only you can make the poor and make the rich. You bring people low and you lift them up high. Only you can raise up the poor from the dust. Oh baby, and you lifted us up to set us among princes and to make us inherit your throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth belongs to Elohim, and he set the world upon it. And Chukwokika Biama will keep IPOB. and the wicked shall be silent in darkness as they are now. For it is not by our strength that we prevaileth, but by the grace and mercy of Elohim, to whom we dedicate this very program, to whom we give every ounce of praise, every adoration, every honor and every glory, that your name, O Elohim, may be magnified forever and ever, we pray. He said, we proceed this very evening to preach this very gospel of truth, Ezioku Chineke, that the world may bear us witness. This very program is designed to drive home the truth that Nigeria is unworkable as presently constituted. I don't know why people cannot see it. I don't know why they are so foolish enough to comprehend it. I do not know if their foolishness is attributable to their poverty of understanding, their very low intellect, or the education system that providence have decreed that they pass through in that hell called Nigeria. I don't know what it is. But you can now see that they cannot, with any degree of conviction, be classed as human beings. They do not reason. They don't know when to rise up to revolt. They don't know when to get angry. They don't know when to say enough is enough. All they do is bask in their own ignorance and stupidity. And that is why their life is one almighty misery. This program this evening, by the grace of Elohim, will bring home some truths to some people. That, as difficult as it may sound, as difficult as it may be for them to comprehend, we have always been right from day one that the system is unworkable. Your PVCs are useless. If you rely on them, you will lose. And you've seen what they've done. They opened up the floodgates of Niger, of Cameroon, of Chad, and of Benin Republic in the north. Every Fulani enclave bothering northern zoo called Nigeria flooded into Borno, into Kanu, into Katsina, into Sokoto to cast their vote for their brother who is from Sudan. Complemented, of course, by underage voting. And people go about every day pretending that all is right and all is well. I am truly ashamed. I don't know why Elohim placed Biafra in that part of the world, to be honest with you. I am truly ashamed of people that claim they're intellectuals, but full of idiocy and hypocrisy. When it comes to IPOB, they speak. But now, they are silent. We understand that our system sometimes could break. The deputy is telling me that our system was off for a while and is back on now. I hope that you're listening to me wherever you are. You mustn't give up, because enemies are trying very hard as they could, to ensure that our program is disrupted, but we must continue. This is Radio Biafra. We don't give up. We dealt with the zoo. That day left us alone. We must deal with whatever it is that is now disturbing us. The zoo is falling apart. I have a message for everybody in the damnable Zoological Republic today. The message that I bring to you is a very simple one. If you're one of those who are tired of what is happening in the zoo, if you're one of those that spent years campaigning, that went out to vote, and your vote did not count, as I understand some of them were lamenting. When they saw hell, they ran away and they were lamenting very bitterly. If you're from the east, which is Biafra land, if you're from the west, which is Yoruba land, if you're from the middle belt, the TV land as well, I ask you to join IPOB, that we may set you free as well. You must join IPOB that we may set you free, because the entirety of humanity is listening and they are waiting. They want to understand one very simple fact. Why can't you people behave and act like human beings? Why are you not enraged by the outrage of the cabal of APC and of the very backward Fulani regime running the zoo into the ground? Why can't you rise up? And I will tell you why this evening. But before I do so, all those of you that wanted a change from the change, all those of you that cried and pleaded with IPOB to lift the boycott, which we duly did, all of you that hoped that what you were exercising on Saturday, your inalienable right, as some of them tried to remind us, that ended up counting for nothing. If you're upset, then you must join IPOB. Only a popular resistance, only a revolution of the people against the corrupt regime can save you. Anything else is bunkum, pure and absolute rubbish. It doesn't matter if you're from Biafra land, from Oduduwa, from the lands of the Middle Belt. For you to be free, you must join IPOB. Then we'll help and save you wherever you are. As Biafra is going, everybody else is going as well. This contraption is unworkable. This contraption cannot work because it is full of evil men. Evil men. And as they are growing, as Ohanese tried to do in our land, they are grooming baby saboteurs, baby traitors. They are grooming people to take over from them. Very sad indeed that people cannot rise up against tyranny. Everywhere else in the world, every other continent in the world, people rose up against tyranny. Only in Black Africa are we always finding it difficult to rise up. Those of us that rose up against tyranny, and they came to kill me, they killed my men. Some of you idiots, we are clapping and laughing. Do you now see how useless your lives are? Democracy is about establishing the will of the majority of the people. In your case, the will of that very majority was trampled, flagrantly disobeyed and disregarded. You were told that you are nothing. Returning officers were told the results to announce, or else they will be held captive in perpetuity. Resident electoral commissioners were held hostage under gunpoint to falsify and announce fake results. And you have the temerity to rise up the next day to go on social media to comment rubbish. That means you have no shame. It means you're not worthy to be called a human being. It means you don't exist. It means you're a complete waste of space. You must learn from IPOB. Had we boycotted the elections, they would have blamed everything on us. It is the curse of IPOB. That's why P2B lost. That's why Atiku lost. But we lifted it and delivered the entire Biafra land to P2B and to Atiku, knowing fully well that Fulani will say no. Only Kanu state is more than the entire Biafra land put together, the number of their votes. That's how foolish people are. Those of you that said you will stick to restructuring or no election, that was the best position you could have taken. But given that you are Black African people, you never stick to your guns. Once they came calling with money, with inducements, you fell apart. That was why Black people from Africa is the only race in the world domesticated like an animal to work in the farm. Some of you don't know this. That the earliest forms of, should I say, organized or primitive mechanized agriculture was either a herd of cows, or should I say donkeys, pulling the plow through the farm, or the workhorse. As soon as they discovered black people, they retired the donkey, the horse, and the cow. Black people from mostly West Africa became farm animals all over the world for nearly 300 years and counting. We did that for a reason. That is to highlight our collective stupidity as a race. I say it without any apologies. People are so foolish, it is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Of course, there are isolated incidents of personal brilliance, or should I say flashes of brilliance. That's what there is to it. Collectively, we are morons and idiots. Somebody from Sudan, to make matters worse, somebody from Sudan who is not from Nigeria, somebody, an impostor, could come to your land and rig elections, and you can't do anything about it. It is a shame and a disgrace. I feel sorry for you people. I feel sorry for you people. Honestly speaking, your only savior is IPOB. If you have any sense left in your brain, from tonight, everybody should identify with IPOB, and within 2 weeks, you will see what will happen. That's all you need to do. Within 2 weeks, you will see what will happen. You will see what will happen. Some of you Biafrans that left this very struggle because of what you've been promised, because of your PVCs, and some of the very hopeless Nigerians, I call them the PVC people, especially those of them from Igbo land. They were very, very vicious in terms of their attack against IPOB. The left Alamajiri was attacking IPOB. How foolish they are. They are now complaining. Everybody's complaining. The election was rigged. Of course, I've been telling you that since 2014. It will be rigged. Over and over again, it will be rigged. When Jonathan was being pressured by Barack Obama to leave office, I was on air telling you that Barack Obama is on the phone pressuring Jonathan to leave. I also warned you people that the then Buhari, who is now dead and buried in Saudi Arabia, like every other jihadi around the world, like Morsi of Egypt, I made that very broadcast, and deputy, you must find it and play it. They want to, listen, the Islamic Brotherhood wants to get into power, but once they get in, they don't want to leave. They claim they are coming via democracy or via a democratic means, one man, one woman, one vote, and all the rest of it, ballot box. Once they get in, they change the rules of the game. And that is what they have done in the zoo. There is nothing anybody can do about it. Your so-called useless international observers, what have they done? Absolutely nothing. That's usual. Anybody could have predicted what they were at. Yes, election held. There were isolated incidents of violence and disenfranchisement of voters. But all in all, we think the election held. Because they've given them money. The same thing they do with ambassadors serving in Nigeria. I've said this many times. They bribe the ambassadors. Every ambassador in Nigeria is bribed. British High Commissioner, American they are all given bribe to keep quiet. They see evil, they cannot speak. Soldiers are massacring people on the road on a daily basis. They cannot send a decent report back to their home country. The excuse is always, if Nigeria is destabilized, the entire region, rubbish, absolute bunkum. Soviet Union collapsed, the world did not collapse. How much more the tiny, dreadful, ignorant, backward zoological republic? This is what I said to them. Soviet Union collapsed. The world did not come to an end. How about a very insipidly corrupt, festering, nonsensical contraption like the zoo that the British created? Russia Soviet Union collapsed. The war did not end. There was no nuclear war, nothing. What is this nonsense that ambassadors and diplomats keep sending back to the Western world? Oh, if anything happens to Nigeria, it's a regional power, it's the most populous country in Africa. Rubbish, pure nonsense to justify the enslavement of nearly 200 million people. Because they bribed them. So you people don't know. Every ambassador serving in Nigeria from a respectable country is today a multimillionaire, because your useless foreign affairs will go and give them money. That's all. So army can come on the road and kill IPOB family members, nobody will talk. Army can go and massacre Shia, nobody will talk. Dasuki could be held incommunicado for 4 years without trial, nobody cares. The same thing to El Zagzagi. People can be rounded up, kidnapped, anybody can be taken. It doesn't matter. Life continues as usual. All these things happening tells you about who you are. That you are a black person and that you are infinitely stupid and useless. I say it all the time. Infinitely useless and hopeless in this Yoji Dinzusi. They think they know something, they know nothing. Isn't it very simple? Isn't it very, very simple? Stand on what you said in the beginning. And I say it tonight, only if. I'm not saying Atiku cannot be president if he wants to be, or Peter to be vice, but only if Afeni Fere, Pandef, Ohaneze, Middle Belt, only if they had held on to what they said initially, which was no restructuring, no election. Do you know what the advantages are? Because within that move to restructure the zoo, they would have built in safeguards that would have prevented election rigging as part of the package. Very simple and very neat. But these same people, these Awusa Fulani people that appointed them, most of them, in fact almost all of them, they don't worry, your pastors were saying use your PVC and vote. And I said you cannot vote out a tyrant with PVC. It has never happened in Africa before, and it can never happen again. Jonathan left office because he was not a tyrant, but the idiots couldn't understand it. Somebody that overthrew, or in his name, a civilian government was overthrown. Buhari is now dead in Saudi Arabia, rotting away. You all can see the pictures. You all can see the difference between Jubril and Buhari, but you all pretended somehow. Oh, we don't want Nnamdi Kanu to be right. We don't want IPOB to be right. Because of that, when you see the truth, you say the truth is no longer the truth. And that is why you're suffering. How many people died? We shall get to that later. Only if they stood on their restructuring or no election, as IPOB did. We won't be where we are today. Never. Because once the West and the East Middle Belt says no voting, if you don't restructure, the zoo comes to a halt. Forget all the nonsense. Only two people can vote, and we declare that we know that useless logic already. Where are we now? You have voted, haven't you? He is leading. Jubril is leading. A Sudanese man, Jubril is leading Atiku in some states by 500,000 votes. How do you intend to make that up? India is over 1 billion people. India conducts elections and announces results within the same 24 hours. India. You are only 200 million, and it's taking you nearly a whole week to announce the result of the elections, because people vote and the results are written. That's what they do. And you know that, I know that, the whole world knows. Do something about it and you say no. Allow Biafra to go? No. Change your rotten system? No. And you come back and you're complaining. Useless set of people. We have won, haven't we? We always do. You were pressuring me to lift the boycott, and I lifted it because you will blame me. And not only did we lift it, we made sure that the entire Biafra land voted for PDP, didn't we? And in some case, people came out and voted for PDP. They said that's their preference, that's their choice. So how come you still lost? Because Because you don't have the metal, you don't have the balls to stand up to tyranny. Only IPOB can. I believe that I'm still on record as the only person that stood up against the tyranny of Buhari when he was alive. I'm not sure any other person did. When they came to my house to kill me, some of you black monkeys were busy jumping up and down and celebrating. That's how useless some of you are. Very, very hopeless and useless. You don't appreciate nor understand a principled stance. You don't know the meaning of it. Had all of you stuck on to no restructuring, no voting, this nonsense on Saturday could not have happened. It's as simple as ABC. And the worst was that you actually agreed to do it. But when they started flashing naira around you, you capitulated immediately. Very sad indeed. Mandi Buafukuna Bari Benin. Useless set of people who cannot reason very well. They can't reason. They cannot think. Their brain is vacuous, very empty. They can't reason. They were shouting all over the place. When the soldiers came and were massacring people, our own people, on the streets of Bayelsa, streets of River State, nothing. They couldn't do anything. Because they've sold their conscience. They have none. They are just empty barrels. All they do is to make empty noise. They can't do anything. No one takes them seriously. How can you win an election against the cabal of Fulani? Have you noticed that the Sultan of Sokoto have not said anything? The Emir of Kanu have not said anything. No, don't worry. They will announce Jubilee as the winner. They'll come and say, let's move the country forward. Let's work together. We are one country. Let's unite.